Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Sarah, and today we're going to be talking about all of the books that are on my physical TBR. So to start out the year, I had 250 books on my physical TBR. Well, on my TBR, because I only read physical books. But I brought that number down a little bit, what with my alphabet escapades, but I have still bought books. So I think as of this moment, we are at 247. So I have a lot of books. But I'm going to be telling you about all the books that I have on my TBR, and I would love it if you guys would leave in the comments any books that catch your eye that you would like to see me read sooner rather than later. I would like to be able to have a mug of ones that you want to see sooner that I can choose from each month if possible, but depending on what kind of comments I get, we'll see how that idea goes. But that being said, let's get started. We have a lot of books to cover, grab a drink and settle in, I guess, because we got a ways to go. I am going to start out here in my living room because that's where I'm set up. So if you hear Mickey Mouse in the background, that would be my daughter and her entertainment for while I film, so ignore it. But over here on this side, we have The Deathless One by Emma Hamm. This is one I just bought. The Life Impossible by Matt Haig. Some early picks from my sister that I have no idea what's in them yet, so we'll find those out later. I have The Cartographers by Pang Shepard, The Edge of Lost by Christina McMorris, A Darker Shade of Magic by V.E. Schwab, The Friday Night Knitting Club by Kate Jacobs, Inkheart by Cornelia Funk, Stalking Jack the Ripper by Carrie Maniscalco, To Kill a Kingdom by Alexandra Christo, The Cheat Sheet by Sarah Adams, Anna Holidays by Christina Lauren, Daughter of Mine by Megan Miranda, The Hacienda by Isabel Cañas, Maybe Once, Maybe Twice by Allison Rose Greenberg, The Island of Sea Women by Lisa C., By Any Other Name by Jodi Picoult, Fairy Tale by Stephen King, Us Against You by Frederick Backman, Swiss Family Robinson by Johann David Weiss, The Mermaid and Mrs. Hancock by Imogen Hermes Gower, If We Were Villains by M.L. Rio, The Storied Life of A.J. Fikry by Gabrielle Zevin, Bone Labyrinth by James Rollins, The Golem and the Jinni by Helena Wecker, The Phoenix Crown by Kate Quinn and Janie Chang, Long Live Evil by Sarah Reese Brennan, The Serpent and the Wings of Night by Chris Broadbent, The Empress by Kristen Cast, Phantasma by Kaylee Smith, The Fall of Ruin and Wrath by Jennifer L. Armentrout, Babel by R.F. Kuang, Throne of the Fallen by Carrie Maniscalco, Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo and The Familiar by Leigh Bardugo, Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros, Ordinary Monsters by J.M. Muro, The City of Stardust by Georgia Summers, For Whom the Bell Tolls by J.C. Lynn, City of Gods and Monsters by Kayla Edwards, An Ember in the Ashes by Sabaa Tahir, The Courting of Bristol Keats by Marion E. Pearson, The Half King by Melissa Landers, The Tainted Cup by Robert Jackson Bennett, A Plague of Giants by Kevin Hearn, The Eye of the World by Robert Jordan, Combat Codes by Alexander Darwin. I have the other books scattered in the other room, and my husband has one, but we have this whole series. Empire of Silence by Christopher Rocchio, Everybody Wants to Rule the World Except Me by Django Wexler, The Nanny by Lena Ferguson, Fool Me Once by Ashley Winstead, Payback's a Witch by Lena Harper, Dead 11 by Jimmy Giuliano, The Cabin at the End of the World by Paul Tremblay, The Book of Cold Cases by Simone St. James, The Paleontologist by Luc Dumas, The Handyman Method by Nick Cutter and Andrew F. Sullivan, The Last Word by Taylor Adams, The Devil in the Dark Water by Stuart Turton, Slow Fire Burning by Paula Hawkins, Gideon's Corpse and Gideon's Sword by Douglas Preston and Lincoln Child, Tom Lake by Ann Patchett, Circe by Madeline Miller, The Unspoken Name and The Thousand Eyes by A.K. Larkwood, Carnival of Curiosities by Amy Gibbs, Middle Game by Shauna Maguire, Blood of Elves by Andrzej Sapkowski, The Forest of Vanishing Stars by Kristen Hummel, The War Girls by V.S. Alexander, Exquisite Ruin by Adrienne May, The Briar Club by Kate Quinn, The Four Winds, Firefly Lane, and The Women by Kristen Hanna, 1984 by George Orwell, The Secret History by Donna Tartt, Dracula by Bram Stoker, The Haunting of Hill House by Shirley Jackson, The Picture of Dorian Gray and Other Stories by Oscar Wilde, The Count of Monte Cristo by Alexandre Dumas, The Divine Comedy by Dante Alighieri, and the first 5 novels of John Carter of Mars by Edgar Rice Burroughs. This is technically my husband's. Does it count? I don't know, but I'll throw it in. The Haunting of Payne's Hollow by Kelly Armstrong. My current read, Cold Eternity by S.A. Barnes. The Child Thief by Brahm. When the Moon Hatched by Sarah A. Parker. Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil by V.E. Schwab. The Deepest Blue by Sarah Beth Durst. The First Sister by Lyndon A. Lewis. I Fell in Love with Hope by Len Colley. The Starless Crown and The Cradle of Ice, also by James Rollins. Soulkeeper, Voidbreaker, and Ravencaller by David Dalglish. Next, Dragon Teeth, Prey, and The Andromeda Evolution, all by Michael Crichton. It's not the last of him that you will see on this list, I guarantee you. Man-Eaters of Savo, The African Adventurers, Last Horizons, Hunting, Fishing, and Shooting on 5 Continents, Death in Silent Places, Death in the Dark Continent, and Safari, The Last Adventure, all by Peter Capstick. Again, they're my husband's books, but I want to read them too. Memories of an African Hunter by Peter Capstick and Dennis D. Lyle. Badlands and Angel of Vengeance by Douglas Preston and Lincoln Child. Station 11 by Emily St. John Mandel. Shards of Earth, Eyes of the Void, and Lords of Uncreation, all by Adrian Tchaikovsky. The Wolf and the Spider by Leo Carew. A Time of Blood and A Time of Courage by John Gwynne. Fire and Blood by George R.R. Martin. Thunderhead, Gleanings, and The Toll by Neil Shusterman. I've read Sith, but I want to reread it. The Game of Thrones series by George R.R. Martin. I'm not going to pull it out because it's a box set and it is wedged in there right now. The Shadow of What Was Lost, An Echo of Things to Come, and The Light of All That Falls by James Islington. Dune, Dune Messiah, and Children of Dune by Frank Herbert. Alien Prototype by Tim Wagner, and Alien Sea of Sorrows by James A. Moore. The Only Purple House in Town by Anna Guire. The Ninth Reign by Jen Williams. First Lie Wins by Ashley Alston. The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. An Ancient Witch's Guide to Modern Dating by Cecilia Edward. One by Ruth Ware. Beasts of Extraordinary Circumstance by Ruth Emmy Lang. Empire of Shadows by Jacqueline Benson. Daisy Darker by Alice Feeney. Midnight at the Blackbird Cafe by Heather Weber. Twice in a Blue Moon by Christina Lauren. Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez. Misery by Stephen King. The Essex Serpent by Sarah Perry. The Ringmaster's Daughter by Carly Shabowski. The Woman with Two Shadows by Sarah James. The Bodyguard by Catherine Center. The Christie Affair by Nina de Gramont. The Transall Saga by Gary Paulson. Sunbringer by Hannah Kaner. But I do want to read Godkiller again first. The Second Sight of Zachary Cloudsley by Sean Lusk. Britt Marie Was Here by Frederick Backman. A Tide of Black Steel by Anthony Ryan. Voyage of the Damned by Francis White. Fairtown by Frederick Backman. Such a Quiet Place by Megan Miranda. Voices in the Snow by Darcy Coates. Blacklight Born and Griever's Blood by Alexander Darwin. My husband currently has the second one right now, so it's not here. We also have Born of an Iron Storm by Anthony Ryan. That's book 2 to this one, which my husband also has. Red Rising by Pierce Brown. The Republic of Thieves by Scott Lynch. The Last Thing He Told Me by Laura Dave. And Then There Were None by Agatha Christie. The Invisible Library by Genevieve Cogman. The Sword Defiant by Gareth Hanrahan. The Bear and the Nightingale by Catherine Arden. Surviving Savannah by Patty Callahan. Housemaid by Frida McFadden. Calabasas by R.F. Kwong. The Phoenix King by Aparna Verma. Never the Roses by Jennifer K. Lambert. Ship of Spells by H. Leighton Dixon. Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow by Gabrielle Zevin. The Phoenix Keeper by S.A. McLean. A Flame in the North by Lilith St. Crow. The City of Brass by S.A. Chakraborty. The Mask of Mirrors by M.A. Carrick. And Descendant of the Crane Mine by Joan He, The Lost by Sarah Beth Durst, The Orphan Collector by Ellen Marie Wiseman, Legacy of Ash by Matthew Ward, Servant of Earth by Sarah Hawley, Sphere by Michael Crichton, The Andromeda Strange by Michael Crichton, The Heaven and Earth Grocery Store by James McBride, The Lost World by Michael Crichton, The Butcher's Masquerade by Matt Zinnemann, Family of Spies by Christine Kuhn, The Countess and the Nazis by Richard J. Hutto, Her Soul for a Crown by Alicia Ramira, Graveyard Shift by M.L. Rio, Julie Chan is Dead by Lian Zhang, A Curse Carved in Bone by Daniel L. Jensen, The Mercy Makers by Tessa Gratton, Things Gods Break by Abigail Owen, Bunny by Mona Awad, The Pumpkin Spice Cafe by Lori Gilmore, The Fervor by Alma Katsu, Meet Me at the Lake by Carly Fortune, Same Time Next Summer by Annabelle Monahan, Funny Feelings by Tara DeWitt, The Dead Guy Next Door by Lucy Score, Mistborn by Brandon Sanderson, The Museum of Extraordinary Things by Alice Hoffman, The River Has Roots by Amal El-Motar, Wild Spaces by S.L. Coney, The Keeper of Stories by Sally Page, When the Reckoning Comes by LaTanya McQueen, The Hexologist by Josiah Bancroft, The Sirens by Amelia Hart, Frankenstein by Mary Shelley, Fathom Folk by Eliza Chan, Twisted Love by Anna Huang, Hunt on Dark Waters by Katie Robert, The Magic of Lemon Drop Pie by Rachel Linden, Home is Where the Bodies Are by Geneva Rose, The Wild Hunt by Emma Seckel, The Novelist from Berlin by V.S. Alexander, Something in the Water by Catherine Stedman, Love in Other Words by Christina Lauren, Guilt by Raven Kennedy, The Worst Best Man by Lucy Score, The Wishing Game by Meg Schaffer, The Last Tale of the Flower Bride by Rashani Chakshi, Welcome to the Hunam Dong Bookshop by Wangbo Ram, Magnolia Parks by Jessa Hastings, Warbreaker by Brandon Sanderson, Spells, Strings, and Forgotten Things by Brianne Randall, Heidi by Johanna Spirey, The Night Tiger by Yang Zishu, The Last Time I Lied by Riley Sager, Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas, A Court of Mist and Fury, and Court of Wings and Ruin, also by Sarah J. Maas, The Shadow of the Wind and The Prisoner of Heaven by Carlos Ruiz Zafon, Gone with the Wind by Margaret Mitchell, The Surgeon's Daughter by Audrey Blake, and Alice in Wonderland by Lewis Carroll, The Holiday Cottage by Sarah Morgan, The Bedlam Bride by Matt Dinneman. I also have Unsettled Ground by Claire Fuller, and my husband also has The Pariah by Anthony Ryan with him right now. I think that is it. I think that I got everything, but that is the 247-ish books that I currently have on my physical TBR. Which ones would you like to see me prioritize, if any? I would love to hear your thoughts down in the comments. How many books do you guys have on your TBR? Is this many too much? Maybe, but I really enjoy it, so I don't think I'm ever gonna not have a lot of books that I still need to read. I cycle them out regularly because anything that I do read and I give a lower rating, I do end up unhauling it, and so I'm cycling books out like crazy all the time. And I love having a big collection of books. It's my favorite thing. So we have a big collection of Jed Antlers behind the camera, and I have a big collection of books behind me. So if you enjoyed this video, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe down below. Thank you so much for being here, hanging out with me for a little bit, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.